Ready to go for Dirt 9 on RaceSpotTV, and Racecraft Off-Road, powered by Next Level Racing, is ready to crown its champions for 2024. Hi folks, live from the big house, the Crandon International Raceway. So glad you joined us for the championship showdown. Our junior Kenki party not joined alongside once again by Josh Lee. He's feeling slightly under the weather with the London flu, and so Ewan O'Leary steps in instead to commentate on some jumpy trucks and some championship action. Ewan, it's been a brief campaign, but it's all seen us head back to Crandon to close out this championship, where 10 wide will see our drivers hoping the championship's locked up before the second of our races in each championship tonight.
Yeah, and you would want to hope so as well if you're one of those aiming for a championship tonight, because the way we start races here at Crandon is ludicrous to me as an outsider coming into short track dirt racing here as a slightly clueless Englishman. It is crazy, and so I wouldn't want to be involved in the championship fight here either.
And we talk about two races, qualifying underway right now. It sets the grid for the first race. Yes, we invert the top four, but again, we stack them up 10 wide. Our drivers mentioned last time out, they'd either like to be starting first or 10th. In the middle, a little bit more dangerous as they go for the 10-lap feature. Spec Championship features the fixed setups. Of course, Open Championship, where the more experienced drivers, a lot with World Championship caliber, have unrestricted setups with which to work. Two-wheel drive, 700 horsepower, all as they try and navigate their way around this very, very fun Crandon International Raceway.
Yeah, and there it is. The thing that really sort of surprises me when I look at this circuit and actually watch it in the flesh, as opposed to just look at the track map, is just how much you have to slow down and speed up again in terms of switchbacks again and again and again. There they all are pointed out for you there. Really have to slow down very, very, very quickly to get round some of these turns again and again and again. And it, from that track map, makes it look quite flowing, but it doesn't really feel like that when you're watching.
And in the Pro 2s, that sense of flow is so important because, again, you don't have the front tires to drive you out of the corners. Got to make sure you are very much smooth and relying on your own momentum. Here's the championship situation, though, heading into the final two races, and 50 points at play per race, a maximum of 100 therefore over the course of the evening just from the racing itself, and Cody Racecraft will know if he can stay clear of Crystal King and accumulate 2 more championship points. Just starting and finishing race 2 will see him dethrone King as the champion, but behind there's some fights as well. Brent Smith and Cameron McGijic. Oh, it's going to be best of those two, Ewan, across of tonight to try and hold on to third in the championship.
Yeah, a commentator's dream, that battle there, because it is basically whoever beats the other over the course of the 2 races tonight, so that makes things very easy indeed. There are a couple of other close battles as well. Maybe the one for 5th place will be interesting, with just 11 points from 5th down to 7th. That could get interesting too, but plenty of other things to look at, as opposed to not the championship fight, which maybe we all wanted to see.
And it all started with the way that Cody Racecraft very consistently has just stayed out of trouble. Crystal King, first round of the season at Bark River. Trouble seemingly found her a couple of occasions there. Cody Racecraft with the 2 wins last time when we returned to Bark River has set his stall out very, very handily. Qualifying underway, about 3 minutes left in the session as it stands right now, and it's Rylan Rogers on top with Crystal King and then Cody Racecraft second and third position. Matt Bennett would be inverted though to the pole position when we go racing for the first of the 2 motos. 18 drivers' times on the board, 3.2 seconds amongst them, but only 13 drivers split by just under a second.
Yeah, exactly. That's very, very impressive indeed, and very encouraging as well. And given the way that we start races here at Crandon, it means that we could get quite a mixed-up field when they actually go through the first turns for the first time. Instead of the rather regular order that we've got at the moment, it could be very different. So we'll see about that, and that could mean we get some very interesting racing with everybody pretty close together, all in all.
We ride on board with outgoing champion, it would seem at this point, Crystal King, sliding through with the number 1 on the side in that Factory Sim Sport entry down to the gravel pit. This is where you'll see the dirt really move around over the course of the evening, as well as the drivers wear in some blue groove to the track and then leap up into the air, set up on the left-hand side. Just Calamity Corner, fortunately with just 1 driver through the turn. A little less to worry about, but King setting up for what will be her final attempt in qualifying. Let's ride on board for the lap.
Yeah, here's the opening couple of corners, try to stay as close to the inside through 1 as possible, then over the crest at 2, and then this sort of deceptively, to me anyway, deceptively slowish turn 3, and then onto the back straight, which really feels like you're going through some sort of forest that leads nowhere.
Yeah, and you come down to what is the weirdest corner, I think, in many ways, because you set the car up, just turn it 180 degrees, and then hope you get the drive off the corner. And when you're 3 and 4 wide and barreling in there at speed with fiberglass going flying, it's an intense experience. This, though, is the first official corner of the race where drivers will be 10 wide. It's a really fast corner, turn 5 on the actual lap for the drivers. Gives an extra half a lap initially, actually, before the drivers get their way around to see the start-finish line for the very first time. We're back around, though, to the section where we jumped on board with King for the very first time with 40 seconds left in qualifying. She will be amongst a handful of drivers to roll back to the line and try and close up to Rogers. Remember, a 1:18.870 to beat. He will not improve. It's the rest behind trying to find some time.
Not find some time, find a lot of time, I would say. 0.2 of a second from first to second here, but it may be possible as Crystal King goes over the line. It doesn't look like it's going to be at that time round. Alex Lajeunesse trying to do the same over the line, not an improvement there either. It will be pretty remarkable to see Rogers pushed off the top from that position of strength.
And, well, Brent Smith going to run out of time. He's got some work to do in his fight in the championship from deep in the running order. When I say deep in the running order, remember, we got 22 trucks. They'll be stacked up in a couple of rows of 10 wide chaos as we get ready to go for the first of 2 motos here tonight. There's a look at the Potawatomi Turn 1 sign as the drivers get ready to take their way down to the starting grid and get their marching instructions to rev their engines. Let's take a look at how they'll line up, though, with the top 4 inverts seeing Matt Bennett being potentially the best starting spot of them all. Cody Retzlaff will be alongside, and Crystal King, Rylan Rogers. The rest of the inverted top 4 will be battling in the mid-pack as well. Pacey Wygent, Cameron McGidgick, 5th and 6th positions, with Alex Lajeunesse, Dominic Berhout, Wes Graham, and then James Mensch, the rest of the front row. Nick Nowak lines up inside of row 2 with Joey Herbie alongside him, and then Miles Morris, Austin McLaughlin, Trevor Teal, Austin Schreiber, Brent Smith, Corey Crowther, and then Quentin Johnson, Cole Fisher, the rest of that second row. Just Ian Fisher and Brock Smith lined up on that final row of trucks ready to rumble as we get the final drivers get ready to sit down on the grid and to rumble their engines. There is maybe no better sight in all of motorsports, Ewan, but maybe no more intimidating sight as well.
No more ludicrous, I would say. It's quite, but in a good way. It's really quite remarkable. A unique way to start this race.
Here we go. The drivers will rev their engines. They've got 700 horsepower at their disposal, and it's a bumpy run down into turn 5. On the inside, what can Matt Bennett do with Retzlaff, King, and Rogers all trying to take advantage on this start? On the outside, already someone slipping from the 2nd or 3rd row. Retzlaff's going to try and slide his way through the corner. Bit of contact being made as they shove their way down on through. It's going to be a nice, healthy advantage, though, for Quentin Johnson, it would seem, up front, who's got the whole shot. I saw Trevor Teal pointed in the wrong direction after tangling them with Johnson. Berhout, Fisher spun around as well as the rest of the drivers funnel their way down to the gravel turn.
You could just tell that wasn't really ever going to start very well there. Right from the very beginning, there were slides in the middle of the pack, right in the middle, and I thought was going to end in catastrophe immediately. In the end, they only had to wait another corner to make it there. The amount of bodywork that's just been lost and the amount of trucks that have just gone up and over again is quite remarkable. I think another one just has at the final turn.
Yep, there's calamity through that final corner, and now big margin stretching out as we officially begin the first lap of racing action. It's Weston Mess that has been able to cycle his way on forward to the race lead. Cody Retzlaff sits in behind with Cameron McGidgick, remember, fighting for 3rd in the championship. Then in front of Matt Bennett with Crystal King having lost the entirety of the front end of the Shenandoah Shine machine, running down to that heavy 180-degree left-hander.
3 wide in that turn at the moment as they all slide in very aggressively. If you're wondering, by the way, where the fastest qualifier has ended up, at 8th place it was at worst for Rylan Rogers on the back straight there. Rogers made up a place now, but it's only a very tenuous hold in 7th position for the moment as he looks to the inside of Miles Morse now for 6th.
You can see how physical it is as well for these machines, the way they land, the suspension then works hard, and you're setting the car up before you even take to the air, because once you're in the air, limited control left and right. You can still control the front end of the car, albeit slightly. Remember, ignore the left side slightly right now. Trevor Thiel is not your race leader. It is still Wes the Mess, who will update as they scramble across the line. But remember, we've still got 9 full laps of racing at the longest lap of the season. This is going to be the longest race of the season as well.
It certainly is. As we just saw in qualifying, 1 minute 18's just about at very best around here, and 10 laps and a bit indeed to get through. So plenty of time to make up places, and plenty of drivers who will need to as well. I would have to say that a lot of these drivers are out of position at the moment. Even Cody Retzlaff, you could say, is one of them, the current points leader, just behind Wes Graham, who, by the way, a very good time of things in terms of points right now too. He's only 9 behind 8th place at the moment, and that would get him up 2 places at the end of the night.
Remember, every position worth 2 points in effect. It makes the math somewhat simple for the driver behind the wheel. And right now, championship situation becoming clear as well. If Cody Retzlaff finishes in front of Crystal King by even a single position, right now it's by 3 positions, championship would be his heading into the second moto of the night. Would he be content though to finish second? Won both of our races last week. He's challenging Wes the Mess up front. Cameron McGidgick up there as well, as Bennett and King scramble off of the gravel turn side by side, costing each other some time on their run to the line.
Yeah, they certainly are, and everybody's going to stack up as a result of this. Just in behind them now as well, you can see Ryland Rogers next up, then Miles Morse, who's just been displaced by Rogers, then Shibber's just in there as well. It's a long line of trucks as through goes Matt Bennett into 4th place, but as you say, look at the time they're costing themselves here, 2 seconds up to the leaders.
And it looked like King, with a poor run off the corner, might have checked them up even further, and she's dropped to 8th position, and there was contact maybe there between McGidgick and Retzlaff, who slides in front of Wes the Mess. Not going to be able to get the driver off the corner. A new race leader. It's the championship driver that runs his way down to turn 5 with still 7 laps to go at the end of this one in control. What can he do now to try and break away up front?
And how about that for a night-defining championship moment between Cody Retzlaff and Crystal King there. On the one hand, King getting it wrong through turn 3, dropping down to 8th place at worst, back up to 7th now, just as Cody Retzlaff slid down the inside of Graham and got to the lead. A defining moment, and Wes Graham unfortunately is dropping places now as a result of that. Another one, in fact, he drops to 3rd, although he's still just about alongside now definitively McGidgick gets through.
And these are some clean trucks for McGidgick and for Wes the Mess. They stayed out of the chaos on the opening lap. Although they maybe started towards that middle of the row where we thought there may be a little bit more expected chaos. Crystal King's alongside of Alex Lachenasse as they work their way to start lap 4. See, Brock Smith has gained 12 positions. He's now joined the top 10 equation. And as they work their way once again out of turn 4, bit of stack up. Smith gets turned with Brent Smith, and James Mensch tangled up as well, just a bit clumsy as he rejoins the track.
But you could almost liken that to a concertina effect you see on a road course, to be honest, where one guy breaks and then another one a little bit earlier, a little bit earlier than that, and it goes down the line, and eventually someone hits someone else. And that's seemingly what happened there, basically, as we look at the start again.
And so Trevor Thiel and Quinton... Trevor Thiel takes a shortcut there. That explains why he needed the instant return to pit lane. But that is what we have to... I say have to. We get to see 3 more times today, Ewan, this chaos of the 10-wide start.
Yeah, exactly. As I said at the time, you could see it going wrong right from the very beginning, even before the first turn. There's Trevor Thiel ending up on the wrong side of the road. And then so many trucks going over, and look at the... I don't know who that was, but there was someone with almost no bodywork on anymore, and that was quite remarkable. But yeah, a very chaotic start, and as you say, that is not abnormal. We're going to see that again.
It's a good thing that the damage repair is free here. Although what I have been told, Ewan, is, you know, I like to often pay for my broken car parts, especially the IndyCar ones. If you go to a short course event, they just give them away because I guess there's so much of them.
IndyCar is such a posh sport, isn't it?
Imagine saying that.
Sorry, controversial. Sorry, I'm joking, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I suppose they're just more readily available based on the racing.
Yeah, I have to assume as well that during the course of a real race weekend, for these drivers, there's a little bit more care about how much of the car they do throw away.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you ideally would like to try and reuse some of that if possible. Anyway, top three, Western Mass slightly being dropped, but by no means running into that second pack with Matt Bennett, Miles Morrison, Ryland Rogers. Remember, Miles Morrison, Matt Bennett right now really fighting to be on the inside of the starting formation for the second race. So maybe a little bit to play for here as Rogers joins the fun as well.
Yep, it really has to. I think that qualifying performance is going down the drain a little bit at the moment for Ryland Rogers, just finding traffic really difficult to deal with. But that's a good move on the inside through the final turn. Be outside for the first, but should get the inside for the second, and that should be the place. No, good move around the outside for Miles Morse to get on the inside for three. They're not leaving each other alone.
This is the great stuff of short course racing, and to be fair, Pro 2s, I keep talking about how it's a little bit more difficult to drive. Sometimes you've seen that reflected in the racing maybe being a less chaotic than the Pro 4s. I don't think this round's going to be that sort of way. Rogers, big hip check, and now as they stack up off the corner, one driver almost runs over another. That was Scheiber getting collected, I think, with the 31 of Rogers, taking advantage. Miles Morse now up 8 positions into the top 5.
And here comes Crystal King looking to take all of these positions, but be careful, everybody, because they're all over the place. You need to be settled over the bumps, and Luncheoness certainly wasn't there. Went very wide and loses 2 places in one go. But unfortunately, that is a disaster for Ryland Rogers and Scheiber as well, who have dropped to 10th and 13th now after that incident in turn 4.
Meanwhile, back up front, check back in with your race leaders as we cross the line. We'll see lap 6 complete. And look how close Cameron McGidget gets to the back of your race leader, championship leader, and a driver that is 4 laps away from crowning themselves the champion here, albeit race control intervention permitting. Retzlaff stayed out of trouble for the most part this season. I don't think I've seen his truck this beaten up over the course of the previous 5 rounds we've had so far.
Well, this is what you get from a champion. If this is the worst it gets, then you'd absolutely don't mind that at all. Given the fact he's in the lead, that makes it matter even less, especially when his main championship rival is so far back. Christian King, by the way, just dropped another couple of places in the final corner a few moments ago. It is very much cruise time for the number 21 at the moment.
End of this race looming. Cameron McGidget's got a truck that looks pretty much factory fresh. Thing to remember in the Spec Championship is these drivers are all fighting with the exact same truck underneath them. You'll notice the track continuing to slick up in various places as the drivers continue just to move the dirt around and lay that blue groove, that rubber actually down into the surface underneath them. But as it sits right now, we're going faster. A 1:19.875 for Cody Retzlaff. Last time by was his fastest lap of the race. This time by with a 1:19.632, just finding even more time. 3 laps left to go in Moto 1.
Yep, it's about working on your move very quickly now, because it could take a couple of laps to really work this one through for McGesick. So are we going to see at the real start of that, if you like? Now into turn number 4 last time, I did see a little bit of alongside from McGesick, but what does that really mean? Does it mean there's a pass on the horizon? It's looking very tricky as Retzlaff very much settled in this race now. He needs to be pushed off rhythm somehow, and that's getting more and more difficult to do.
Remember that Cameron McGidget, he's fighting with Brent Smith in the championship, and Brent Smith now down in that fight for 16th spot. And you can see on the bottom of your screen, McGidget really positioning himself, second race of the night, to go in there and to be a little bit more worry-free as they'll race on that initial 10 wide start. They're just 2 wide, slightly further behind. A bit of chaos between Nick Nowak and Dominic Berhout, as that's a pass by Austin McLaughlin and Austin Scheiber, all happening here towards the tail end of the race.
Oh, that was aggressive from Scheiber. He says, have some of the wall. Oh, very nearly. But gets into 10th place. He's had a race of trials and tribulations for sure, but now back into the top 10 all over again. And surely some of this is about, I mean, I don't know, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Arjun, but surely some of this is about getting on the front row for the second race.
Not a bad point, actually, as that's how Nick Nowak self-spun and then got driven into. Not much that anyone else could do in that situation. But, yeah, you know, something I've never really talked about on a broadcast, Ewan, but it's a very valid point. I'd rather be on the front row than the second row, although I don't think there's really too much you could do at this point outside of that fight between Schreiber and McLaughlin. Crystal King's just got in front of Joey Herbie, but with the white flag ready to be dropped next time by, I think we're pretty settled outside of this fight maybe for the lead and the fight for 5th position.
Yeah, I can't see those top 4 positions changing now, really, but could be proven wrong. It seems that Miles Morse is maybe the most likely to make a pass here, and Alex Lajeunesse, who really is trying to just offset Wes Graham, if you like, with the performance he's putting in at the moment. He's actually done a good job at sort of mitigating that damage a little bit now in this, if you can call it a battle for 8th place in the championship. It's not really, I suppose, but it is something worth noting. And he would very much like to hang on to that top 5 at the moment. So everybody looking fairly settled now, but it's been a pretty crazy race. It's taken us a good 8 laps to get settled or so.
Yeah, and it's right as we get onto the final lap that maybe it's hopefully getting unsettled. And I think what you say is a valid point, Ewan, right? Remember, every driver in this championship, they've got their own story to talk about. And so, you know, even if it's 8th in the championship, they've got bragging rights to be thinking about. Maybe they're thinking about the step up to the Open Championship moving forward and want to sign off from the Spec Championship as best as they can. So as we head on to the final lap, down to tree turn 1 final time, Cameron McGidgick alongside, but on that inside going to struggle to get the momentum off, and Cody Retzlaff continues to hold the lead.
Yeah, and that's why it's so difficult to get past him, because when he's sort of setting that line there, Cody Retzlaff, he just doesn't seem to make a mistake at all. How do you push him off his line from that point there without being completely dirty and just ramming him off the road? It's very difficult to just know what you can do here for Cameron McGiddick. He's got to find something here on the way down into these final couple of hairpins.
He's given it his best as Cameron McGiddick, but it's just come up that little bit short. They've got one final corner to go. They give a wide berth from the very inside, seemingly with the racing line continuing to evolve, but with yet another victory. 2 wins last time out, and a win here in Moto 1. Cody Retzlaff continues to make waves, and now your champion of Racecraft Off-Road, powered by Next Level Racing, and its Spec Championship. In style here in the big house, he wins the race, he wins the championship.
Fantastic driving from Cody Retzlaff all season long, but especially today as well. Qualified in a very similar place to a lot of those who have finished at lower part of the top 10, outside of the top 10 in that race. All important start, of course. Kept it clean through there, but then drove magnificently after that to take the win.
And I've got to say, drive of a champion, to be able to just keep calm through all of that. I don't want to say fighting between those 3 leaders, but there was intensity amongst all of that, and you could see Cameron McGiddick in those final corners still giving it his best to try and close. We'll get the final drivers across the line, and then drivers get a brief intermission, a brief warm-up to get acclimatized to the track before we go racing for the final 10 laps of the season here for these drivers. With the championship locked and loaded, it's now just down to bragging rights and who will see the checkered flag first. It's Trevor Teal, a little bit of traffic in front of him, comes to the line. Ian Fisher as well, just wrapping up in that number 81 machine, as they'll officially see the first moto of the night in the books. We'll grab a look at your race results and talk through that margin of victory for your champion, as Cody Retzlaff only 4 tenths clear of Cameron McGiddick at the end in his Team Rogue entry, but 4 crucial tenths. Let's see him wrap things up heading into the final race of the season. Weston Mess ran very strong, just dropped back slightly in the closing stages to hold on to a podium spot, but he'll line up in second in the second race tonight, with Matt Bennett grabbing the inverted pole position. Alex Lajeunesse climbed his way forward to 5th, with Miles Morse, Pacey Wygant, and then Crystal King, Joey Herbie, and Austin Schreiber. The rest are your top 10. Austin McLaughlin in front of his TCR teammate Rylan Rogers. Unfortunately, after starting on pole, Rogers dropping down slightly. James Mensch, Dominic Berhout, and then the trio for 906 Dirt, Brock Smith, Quinton Johnson, and then Brent Smith, 15th through 17th. Cole Fisher, Corey Crowther, and then Trevor Teal all scored on the lead lap. Unfortunately for Nick Nowak and for Ian Fisher, it is 1 lap down respectively for them. Well, don't go anywhere here on RaceSpotTV. We've still got one more race to come for the Spec Championship drivers, and then championship still left to be decided for Racecraft Off-Road, powered by Next Level Racing, and its Open Championship. With the 2024 Racecraft Off-Road powered by Next Level Racing Spec Championship already done and dusted, it's now just down to bragging rights for the final race of the season. Welcome back to the big house, to the Crandon International Raceway. Our Junior Kanky Party joined alongside by Ewan O'Leary, and Ewan ready to rumble for another 10 laps of racing, and once more they get ready to get stacked up 10 wide.
Exactly, it's the most exciting start in all of motorsport, you could say, and it certainly is one of the most chaotic. It really mixes up the grid, certainly did there. It left us with about 8 laps of sorting the mess it made out, to be honest, and then a final couple of laps of consolidation of positions. Let's see what happens in this second race.
And that second race getting ready to be gridded right now. The drivers got that brief warm-up session just to get a feel for the track conditions. Remember, Spec set up across the board for all of them. Not much they can do to dial themselves in outside of their 2 hands and their 2 feet. It's going to be Matt Bennett and Wes Graham 1-2 with McGijic, Retzlaff, Lajeunesse and Morse. The rest of the top 6, Pacey Wygant, Crystal King, Joey Herbie and Austin Scheiber the front row, and then Austin McLaughlin inside of row 2. Yes, 10 wide. Ryland Rogers, James Mensch, Dominic Berhout, Brock Smith, Quinton Johnson. And then as you head down to the very final page, you'll see those final 2 drivers start on row 3 with Nick Nowak and Ian Fisher. But don't forget Quinton Johnson, Brent Smith, Cole Fisher in front of Corey Crowther and Trevor Teal. Once again, they get stacked up and ready to be launched off. You can already hear the rumble of the engines. And so for the final time this season, let's go racing in Racecraft Off-Road powered by Next Level Racing and the Spec Championship. 10 wide on the inside for Matt Bennett with Wes the Mess. Can they hold off the challenge? Almost some bump drafting behind as a big send from Crystal King and a couple more sliding wide. Oh, Wes the Mess lost it. He's in the wall. There's a truck already going up and over. More in the wall. Ryland Rogers hits hard. My word, it's even crazier at the start of the second race of the night.
Yeah, I thought it was a better getaway actually from everybody on the front straight, but it was not a better first couple of corners. A load of trucks finding themselves in the wall, upside down, up in the air, and everywhere in between. And, well, look at the mess it's created.
But through Calamity Corner, we'll get ready to see the first lap officially begin, and I think that's Miles Morse that leads with Crystal King and Matt Bennett tucked behind, still locked horns in fight. Big slide behind from Pacey Wygant. That's going to lose him some track position as well. But as we come back onto this back straightaway for the very first time, it is indeed Miles Morse that leads, and by a healthy margin as well.
Yeah, it certainly is, and really about hammering that margin home now. Can you take that all the way home, and can you take a race victory here? That is sort of the mix-up that you get with the 10 wide starts. It puts guys in positions that they otherwise might not be in.
And Trevor Teal, his Nitro Circus sim racing entry, will finally be able to slide its way out of Dodge, but now down in 12th positions. He'd had such a great start. He's still +8 respectively, but Brock Smith's +10, the biggest movers so far on the day. Big losers, Wes the Mess, James Mensch, Austin McLaughlin and Ryland Rogers, who were all part of the chaos at the start of the opening lap as Cody Retzlaff elbows out, sends Pacey Wygant into the wall.
Even though he's already got the title wrapped up, not giving any favours to anybody, and you've got to commend that for sure in the final race of the season. By the way, just a little side note, because Crystal King is in second place and I don't think it's likely anymore, but Cameron McGizick actually gained about half of his deficit to Crystal King in that last race, and I was beginning to wonder whether the impossible might become possible and he might get second, but given this situation, it's not very likely. No,
he was not one of the big winners on this race start. Truck still looks relatively clean, albeit just inside of your top 10 right now. Lost 6 positions in the middle, where maybe the grip at its worst and the track at its bumpiest for these machines trying to put down 700 horses on those initial race starts. Now, as they continue just to fight, there's a truck that's lost a bit too much of its sideways momentum, and rather lost too much forward momentum, transitioned it into sideways momentum, doesn't lose any positions, but here comes McGijic to try and take advantage on that mistake from Pacey Wygant.
Yeah, exactly. It's always weird to say, isn't it, in these trucks that they've slid too much, because what else are they doing? You know, they're sliding all the time, but there is certainly a point to which you can't go any further from, and we certainly saw Widgeon get into that position right there. As we see this race settle down just a little bit right now, but I get the feeling that some of these drivers, in fact a lot of these drivers, are not in the positions they would be in if just pace came into it.
Now, I think you're right there as we jump on board with Cole Fisher, who you can also see bottom left of your screen, and one of our driver on boards fighting with Trevor Teal, all just as they finish what is their second lap. Your race leaders already onto the third lap of the race for them. So this race starting to now just tick on by. Cody Retzlaff back in the thick of all of it with Brock Smith and Alex Lachenes, and Cody Retzlaff grabbing a couple of spots there, I think, through all of that.
Yeah, I mean, it is a top three, a win even out of the question. Maybe a win's out of the question, but top three very possible, I think, for Cody Retzlaff with the amount of laps that are still remaining, 7.5 as we speak at the moment. So that's plenty of time, I would say. But what a great performance again. I guess pressure lifted off the shoulders of Retzlaff here in this race, not really having to worry about the championship anymore. May well take a very light hit in the championship to second place, but he won't care. He's racing with freedom in this final race.
And that was what he was talking about in our interview with him after his double victories last time at Park River, wanting to make sure that as much as possible this race and this event at Crandon, knowing what the starts would bring, could be as drama-free as possible, which I know is a always unlikely scenario. Trevor Teal, as mentioned in that fight with Cole Fisher, hasn't broken out his pickle suit for this race. He has lost a lot of the bodywork on the left rear of that number 72, but seems to be still handling okay as he tries to work his way back up into the top 10. Another driver trying to sign off this season on a high.
Yeah, he's not done so far, I've got to say. Trevor Teal. It's been a complete disaster in race one. We saw him going accidentally cutting the track and ending up on a part of the track that he didn't really want to end up on at all. And in this race, went for a spin down here at turn number 4, and someone else has done that as we speak. And he's got caught up in that too, and now he's gone and facing the wrong way.
Well, the camera finds trouble sometimes, and in poor Trevor Teal's case, just have to find him, it would seem, today. Pacey Wygert still through all of that holds on to 7th spot. Meanwhile, for the lead, Crystal King has slid her way on through. Morse is going to cut back on through, though, on the crisscross, and as they slide back down to the gravel pit, there's RG Bargy. Matt Bennett's going to sit there and think, I've got a chance to maybe get both of them if it continues to play out like this. He'll grab King for sure, and now up to second as Morse holds on.
Yeah, King was it's totally starved of momentum through the penultimate corner there as a result of contact, and Matt Bennett couldn't refuse the offer there, and he went through into second position pretty easily. They're all battling, which allows the rest of them to catch up, of course. You can see Schieber and Retzlaff the principal among them, but that indicates to me this battle is far, far from over between these three.
No, and you want to know something, the fighting behind, well, it all continued between the likes of Nick Nowak and Trevor Teal, and well, unfortunately, you grab a quick look at the replay, it ends in somewhat familiar feelings for some, as Nick Nowak and Trevor Teal both part of all of that, as yet another incident before we even get halfway through this final race of the season for these drivers. Should be fun, though, between Morse and Bennett. Neither of them have really been up here and fighting consistently at the front this season. We've seen from Matt Bennett some strong performances in qualifying and then sliding back in the race itself, but now as he tries to challenge Morse up the inside, battle for the race lead on and a battle for the race win. 5 laps to go when they see the stripe.
Yeah, you can see from his line on the way into the long left-hander at turn 6 there that he was shaping up for that, and it's worked out for the moment. He's got the inside, but Miles Moore's coming back through again on the outside now into the final corner and slides through very well. Can he get the jump off the corner too to really consolidate the place? Yes, and yes he does. So first position again for Miles Moore's. Good defence, but it's not over.
This is great, and Bennett really tried to switch back. He's trying to set it up out of turn 3 here. He'll be on the outside, gets pushed wide. He's opened the door up, I think, now for Crystal King, who won't get such a good run, won't be able to take advantage. And this is great racecraft between both of them. They're really showing how much you've got to try and set things up, and Morse the long way around once again. Down at that tree turn. Bennett's lost the rear end, and King will now slide forward to try and take second back.
Staying so close to the inside there for Bennett was horrible. He did not enjoy that at all, and he went nowhere. Crystal King went straight through, couldn't refuse that offer either, much in the same way that Bennett couldn't refuse the offer of second place when the roles were reversed. That's a pretty awkward moment for Brock Smith, who has, oh dear, not really joined very well.
No, but I don't know how much control he did have of the rejoin, to be fair. Officially, I think this does mean Cameron McGijic, who's back up into 8th in front of Brock Smith, will find themselves officially being able to hold on to 3rd in the championship. That's at least one more of those storylines wrapped up, although maybe not a bow on it just yet. Crystal King, where's the slider, Tom Grady says. We'll find out on board with Matt Bennett. 3 drivers still in contention, 4 laps to go, with Scheiber and Retzlaff not far behind either.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not willing to say this is only 3 drivers involved here. I'm willing to say that Scheiber and Retzlaff can get involved here if they don't battle, and if these guys do, and it looks like they will. Crystal King so close to a move down in towards turn 4 here. Surely there's got to be a move to the inside or outside. Miles Morse sort of in the middle, and King can't really go anywhere, but can she get the run? Not really. I don't think she'll be quite alongside in time for the right-hander at turn 5.
And I tell you what, Alex Lachenesse is in 7th spot, about 5 seconds off of the race leader, but if there's anything that does unfold amongst of those battles, he's there in a position to pick up all of the pieces. And speak of the pieces, Crystal King back to the race lead, and Moore's not going to be able to challenge, is he? As they get funneled down off the corner towards, gravel pit. Matt Bennett's going to take advantage of Crystal King being turned on the nose of Morse to take the race lead. King spins it back around, but the drama eventually that we expected.
Yeah, you could see that happening. The 2 were converging in the middle as they went over one of the jumps on the way down towards turn 7, and in the end contact was inevitable. There'll be some more here as Retzlaff leans on Scheiber a little bit, trying to make up those places to get into the lead, but Matt Bennett has got a wonderful chance to win this race from here.
And as the track now really slicks up, this is when they've laid as much rubber as they really can onto the surface itself. Who's adapted? Who's adjusted? Retzlaff is right there. He's got to try and make 2 moves before he can think about closing the margin to the lead. And first up, Austin Scheiber, who's going to give the inside to the champion. He's going to try and get the drive off the corner, and now the drag race down to turn 5. Retzlaff loses out.
Yep, just no run off the corner, and I have noticed that especially those who are searching for the inside at turn 4 just seem to go nowhere on the exit of the corner, and I don't really see how you're going to make a move out of there. It's much more likely down here. This is where we've seen a lot of the action in the latter portion of this race. Anyway, turn 6. And even though there was a big bit of contact and unfortunately Crystal King going around, this is where the battling has been in these final few corners. There it is again as Retzlaff gets into the side of Scheiber.
And tell you what, Austin Scheiber got squeezed to that inside and now going to really allow Cody Retzlaff to try around the outside of Calamity Corner, but as they beat and bang off of that final turn, Austin Scheiber holds on very, very nicely. 2 laps left to go. Let's take one more look at, a defining moment of the second race. That bit of contact between King, bit of contact once, a bit of contact again, and Miles Morse not really sure what more he could have done.
Yeah, exactly. It's just that bit of I think it's that first bit of contact, isn't it? Right before they take off, and as soon as you're going off at a weird angle off the ground, just there as they're leaving the ground, and Miles Morse has got to correct by turning right, and by turning right, he's gone straight into the number 1 truck.
And unfortunate that Crystal King, the one that really lost out to the most time, as now Austin Scheiber battles with Morse, gives a bit of a shove. Matt Bennett's going to see the white flag with a 2-second advantage. All he's got to do is avoid putting a foot wrong. Morse now with contact at Scheiber. Retzlaff is going to throw it up the inside if he's given the door. Pacey Wygen sits there as well. They'll fan out 4 wide off the corner. Morse back to second. Have this. This is great stuff with 1 lap to go in the season.
Fantastic. It really quieted down in the last couple of races of the last couple of laps of the first race, but it's not here, and there's contact. Retzlaff and Scheiber get into it. Scheiber goes around, and he will start the last lap of the season backwards.
as I think he's finally spun it around just inside of the top 10. Oh my word. That's why you want to wrap the championship up before you get to the final race of the season.
Yeah, well, anywhere, but especially here, it is carnage. And you wouldn't want to be Cody Retzlaff or Crystal King if they were involved in a very tight battle for the championship, if you're involved in stuff like this all day long. And you've had the races that those two have had in 1 and 2 here today. It's been great to watch, but very stressful, I would imagine, to drive. And
for Matt Bennett, you know how I mentioned he's had some great qualifying efforts, not necessarily been up the front all season. He's ready, 3 seconds clear of those behind, to take his first victory of the season. What a victory it would be as well.
Absolutely. You can say all you want about the battles for second place helping him, but he had to be there at the right place at the right time. He had to make overtakes in this race, by the way, and had to drive well afterwards as well, so all credit will go to him.
It was a scrappy victory in many ways. Matt Bennett started at the front. He had to fight to stay there. He'll win the final race of the season here in Racecraft Off-Road, powered by Next Level Racing and its Spec Championship. He's a good 3 odd seconds clear of those behind. Miles Morris and Pacey Wygant will end the season on the podium as well. For Cody Retzlaff, the champ, in 4th, closes out the season with yet another top 5.
Yeah, great performance and great driving through the race as well. We were watching him throughout a lot of that, getting through traffic and then turning on the pace when needed. When he was trying to catch the front 3, did turn it on along with Austin Subaru as well, who he eventually came to blows with. But another great drive and another underlining of why he is champion of this series. And actually, the points gap is actually going to be quite large compared to what it was at the start of the day.
And maybe not truly reflecting the speed that Crystal King had over the course of the season. However, I think the one thing that we definitely saw from Retzlaff was that level of consistency, the ability to stay out of trouble, put themselves right place at the right time over the course of the season. The celebration will go on for Retzlaff as we get ready to have a chat with hopefully both our champion and the Moto1 winner. Can't wait to have a chat with Matt Bennett as well and get his reaction from his 906.223 coming out on top in the final race of the season. Miles Moore second in the Team Watson Racing number 73, and then Pacey Wygant scored down in 3rd. It will be Cody Retzlaff, Alex Lachenesse, and then Cameron McGijic, Brock Smith, Crystal King, Austin Schreiber, and Joey Herbie, the rest of the top 10, with Cameron McGijic doing enough to hold on to that 3rd place in the championship, you'd think, with Brock Smith's troubles today. Nick Nowak, Brent Smith, 11th and 12th positions, with 10 positions gained there for Nowak. Dominic Berhout, 13th. Trevor Teal in 14th. And then Corey Crowther and Wes Graham, James Mensch, and Ian Fisher just in front of Austin McLaughlin, all on the lead lap. Cole Fisher ends 1 lap down, or rather a couple of laps down, as does Quinton Johnson and Rylan Rogers after putting it on pole position, not really getting to show all of that speed in the race itself. So, as we continue just to give the drivers a moment to come and chat with us, Ewan, it has been a fun season. Of course, we'll grab a quick look at that schedule. 2 trips to Bark River, 2 trips to Crandon, and then that mid part of the season filled with the bull rings of Wild West and Firebird. And now we'll get to see the Open Championship finish here at the Big House as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to those second pair of races a little bit later on tonight. But a fun season. I've got to say, I don't, obviously, because I'm English, watch this kind of racing very much. But I'm always surprised by how much I enjoy it, actually. And this is my first race at Crandon, having ever seen it. I've thoroughly enjoyed this as well so far. So can't wait for the second couple of races that are coming up in a few moments.
Which World Championship race did you do? I've already forgotten. My memory's that bad.
I've forgotten as well, but it had about 4 turns. It wasn't a very long circuit at all.
So it was either Wild West, or as it would have been known then, back in the day, Wild Horse Pass.
That doesn't sound very familiar, but
no?
it started with a like a left switch back, and then a sort of right, and then a left, and then a left again, and it was not very complicated, but it was all right. I've got to say, this is better.
This is great. Oh, Crandon is amazing. Bark River is also a lot of fun. We've only got 4 tracks, but at least we've got 4 pretty good ones at the end of the day. I don't think, unfortunately, we are going to get the chance to chat with, well, any of our drivers post-race, post-season. So, unfortunately, That's it for our focus, our coverage of Racecraft Off-Road, powered by Next Level Racing, and in the Spec Championship. We'll be right back here on RaceSpotTV as Dirt Night continues, but this time with the Open Championship, open setups, experienced drivers, and back here at the Big House for 10 wide craziness. Dirt Night on RaceSpot continues back here from the Big House, but this time with the focus on the most experience that Racecraft Off-Road, powered by Next Level Racing, has to offer as we unlock the setups and tell the drivers to get to work. Our Junior Kangi party back alongside of Ewan O'Leary as we get set once again for 2 more motos, 10 laps apiece, and the same great racing action, but with championship focus still left for us to talk about. Ewan, of course, the championship stakes were pretty clear when it came to Cody Retzlaff's State of Trouble. The championship was his. When it comes here to the Open Championship, it's a little bit more wide open. I say a little bit, the margin's still around 40 points that Conor Barry enjoys heading into this final race and final event of the season.
Yeah, I did notice that, especially going into last week, actually. It was really quite a four-way sort of, you didn't know where to look kind of day. But Conor Barry really pulling away now. It's going to take some sort of almost miracle for someone to overtake him, but the battle for second will be very, very interesting.
It will indeed, and of course it's the same track here at the Big House, the Crandon International Raceway for these drivers. I think we are going to get the chance now to have a quick catch-up with our champion, Cody Retzlaff, in the Spec class that joins us now. Cody, congratulations on what was a great season. Winning Moto 1 on the night really set you up well as well to not really have to deal with any pressure in Moto 2. How are you feeling with the championship now in the books in 2024? Yours with the name next to it.
Pretty good. This is my first year running the Pro 2 series, so I'll take it.
And are we going to see you step up to the Pro 2 Open Championship tonight? Are you already getting ready to go racing for another 20 laps here?
Yeah, I'm already on the grid actually, so we'll see how it goes.
We'll let you go and get ready to go, and maybe, Cody, we'll be speaking to you again tonight, but congratulations on a great season and best of luck for the racing you've still got ahead of you.
Thanks, guys.
So Team Rogue's Cody Retzlaff comes and jumps in for a quick chat. Really appreciate him doing so from the starting grid, because it's a thing about fast, frenetic off-road racing. Same thing for us here in the broadcast booth and behind the scenes. And confirmation there, Ewan, that we are going to see Crystal King and Cody Retzlaff step up to the Open Championship here tonight. get a look at the starting grid then as we get ready to go racing. Remember, 2 10-lap races, inverted top 4. Should be the same 10-wide craziness, though, for everyone to enjoy. Drake Mittag will be on the very inside with Connor Barry and Josh Edmondson, the 2 championship drivers, alongside of one another. It'll be Keaton Swain, then Cody Winicky and Cameron Peterson through the top 6, with 7th going the way of Anthony James, Cody Vanderveer, Sean Winkler, and Taylor Vandenbush, the rest of the top 10. Row 2, Mike Budson, Greg Johnson, and then Crystal King, Cody Retzlaff, and James Burke. 15 trucks ready to battle as Ewan, we get set to send them out for the 10 laps once again.
Yeah, it might feel a little bit less crowded because we've lost 1/3 of the field effectively from the first couple of races that we've had here tonight, but it is still going to be a mad rush down in towards Turn 1. That doesn't change in any way. We still have that same format, so looking forward to that, but maybe we can hopefully see a bit of a cleaner start, especially to what we got in race 2, which was well, I suppose race 1 wasn't much better, was it? Actually, it's they both were pretty mad.
Don't set high expectations, and you can never be disappointed. Something along those lines, right?
That's a good life motto.
Yeah, exactly. That's my life motto, my life philosophy. We've got about 30 seconds for these drivers before they get their marching instructions to go racing there on the Steal It starting line. Always fun to see them. A bit stressed as well in some ways. Just Keaton Swain waiting for Keaton Swain, I should say, in that SimCoach's Factory SimSport number 21. For the lights will build and the engines will rev. It's been a fun season to get us to this point. Connor Barry, Mr. Slicky, Mr. Two-Time, is on the cusp of a championship, but those around him not content to be lying down and let him waltz to the championship. It's here at the big house where champions are made. Let's get ready to go. Let's rev the engines. 700 horsepower at the disposal of 15 drivers with 10 laps on the board. And now, finally, the lights are build. The engines will sing out in symphony. And Racecraft Off-Road, powered by Next Level Racing, is go for its second final moto of the night. It's not the greatest of jumps from Josh Edmondson or Connor Barry. They're going to get swarmed on the run down to Turn 1. Drake Mittag will lead them through the fast-flying right-hander. There's some chaos behind, a spin, and contact for the number 1 of Edmondson, who slides to the rear end of the field as Connor Barry stays out of all of it.
An absolute disaster for Edmondson, who really needed a good both races, to be honest, to beat Connor Barry to the title tonight, but that's looking even less likely now as the remaining part of the field who didn't get caught up in that going to the final couple of hairpins all as one. Pretty much 8 of them got clear.
And we'll take a look at the start replays in a couple of moments' time. Outside of Edmondson, Cody Winicky also not having the best launch on that front row. As we cross the line with another stack up, and oh, this one's big. Again, Barry stays out of it. You can see that Crystal King's trying to do an infinite point turn and spool the car around. Keaton Swain got tangled up in that one as well, so did Mike Budson. And so as the rest of the drivers scramble off and away, Cam Peterson now your race leader, with Mittag, Barry, Winkler and Vandenbush the rest of the top 5.
That was absolutely ridiculous, by the way. Almost the entire track was blocked through the final corner there as we effectively started the first lap. So that was weird, but Connor Barry, as you say, has made it through all of it. So crucial for him to do that. And by the way, if he finishes in the top 7 of this opening race, he will be champion no matter where the others finish. And by the way, where the others are finishing, not very well as things stand as far as championship contenders go.
Still in his Air Slayer tribute. Number 2, General Tire CBR entry in that Nitro Circus Sim Racing contingent. We were out on board with Drake Mittag, a pair of drivers, Barry and Mittag, feeding us their webcams as they fan out 3 abreast down through gravel turn. Vandenbush and Winkler squabble for 4th and 5th positions behind, but officially the end of the first lap in the books, with Cam Peterson towering tall and his teammate tucked in behind. Let's go back to the start, Ewan, and ride on board with Josh Edmondson and get the perspective from the defending champion of what happened and what went wrong.
I think he's just going to get sandwiched in the middle here. They're already, so he's on the inside of the sort of lime green there, and it just gets straight into the wall through no fault of his own, really. These are the kind of things that happen with this start.
And then this, I think, will be what happens to Keaton Swain and company down at that final corner. Calamity corner aptly named, and a squeeze to the inside. The factory sim coach's car of Swain, the one that got pinched and turned around. And then from there, well, Swain's still trying to point it around. What happened to the likes of Crystal King from behind?
Just trying to slow up and just get carted into the other trucks, and then trying to reverse without trying to reverse into everybody else. That's an almost impossible task. And then there's a couple of trucks in front. Yeah, it's just a disaster, isn't it, really? Through the final corner there, you can see the gaps to some of those, especially the bottom 5 in the field. They are a long way off, considering it's lap 2.
It is only the end of lap 2 as well. We've got plenty of racing still left to come as we jump on board with the points leader, and at this point, a driver that's just going to try and stay out of trouble. And much like Cody Retzlaff in the Spec Championship, wrap things up before the final 10 laps. But as the gap builds to Drake Mittag to Taylor Vandenbush, it's a pair of Nitro Circus Sim Racing teammates 1 and 2 starting to just edge their way up front and build the advantage to those trying to chase them down.
Yeah, absolutely. And that might be the thinking for Conor Barry at the moment as well. Not just what you said up there about staying out of trouble, which I think is very much factoring into the thinking as well, but actually, can I get away from a lot of the danger that might be behind me at the moment? Well, I think this is going to be a story of the race as well, a little bit. Those who are now caught up in incidents through the opening laps there, getting themselves back through the field again, especially the likes of Edmondson and Swain, who are 9th and 15th, respectively.
And I guess as well, when it comes to the likes of Retzlaff and King, it's something I've not really thought about until just now, but what setup do they have? Are they just using the iRacing default setup for Crandon? Or, you know, I guess in the case of Crystal King, can always steal a setup from, you know, Keaton Swain, a teammate. Not sure if Cody Retzlaff has that same opportunity, as he's now past Greg Johnson, so really making some good moves in that Team Rogue 525 here, not the 21 for this Open Championship, as they just now sit 8 seconds off of your race leaders who cross the line, end lap 3, with still around 1 second between the top 2 and the chasing contingent behind.
Yeah, and that is a gap that's only going to get bigger, I would imagine, as long as these two get their heads together, and you'd think they will do here. Cameron Peterson at the front of the field ahead of Barry. Very quick indeed, these two, especially when they've got together here now, and they're beginning to get ahead, or rid, as I'm trying to talk, of the rest. Drake Mittag probably the closest to them and the only one who can really stay with them, because the gap to 4th is growing all the time.
And Ewan, you know how I'm relatively tall?
Relatively?
Yeah, you know
relatively to me.
You know who's taller than me?
Wow, who?
Cam Peterson.
Wow, how tall is he?
He's like 6'10".
Oh my God, 6'10"?
He's like Yuri Kastorp height.
Oh my God, he's in the wrong sport. He needs to be a basketball player or something, because that's outrageous. 6'10".
See, I knew I'd get that reaction from you, and oh, this is great.
I'm not even 5'10".
Yeah.
Oh no.
And if we have to commentate with each other again this year in person, I hope you've got your boxes ready.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
You only stood on one box, to be fair. You didn't stack the boxes, did you?
I thought I was on 2 next to you, and 1 everyone else.
Okay.
Maybe it was 1. But,
living dangerously.
Yeah, but just to make it look not ridiculous. Like, we know that you're taller than me, but not like let's not make it silly now.
Speaking of silly, I think we were thinking that Drake Mittag was being dropped last lap 4/10. He's closed on. Sorry, it's just I was about to say on Cam Peterson, your race leader. Then I saw this comment in chat from Tyson Miller, 6'10", the Canadian giraffe. That is a nickname if I've ever heard one before.
Exactly. Are there giraffes in Canada? I guess not, but yeah, that one will stick probably. Or we'll make sure it does. So there you go. But yeah, it was me that said Drake Mittag was getting dropped, wasn't it? To be honest, and that's not true. To be honest, he's closing in, and it's a leading 3 for sure. That's probably the worst news that Conor Barry could have heard.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Although, again, what did you say? He just got to finish 7th, and championship would be his. Well, he's alongside, though, of his teammate as they run down to Calamity Corner. He'll try and open up the entry, switch back underneath, but not at the expense of opening the door for Drake Mittag. The TCR 518's trying to take advantage, long way around of turn 1, slots back into line, but that's the problem with teammates being 1 and 2. That third car in line not so content to play the team game.
Exactly. It was only that last little bit of contact as well between Barry and Mittag there that just prevented the 18 truck from getting sideways as early as Mittag wanted, and it prevented him from making the move as well by extension. But that's an early warning sign for these two out front for sure, that Drake Mittag is not going to play their game, and they may have to fight between themselves. By the way, Conor Barry finishing in the top 7 is a presumption that he will start the last race, because he probably will need to.
Okay, well, I think that's a fair assumption. So I'll go along with it. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Meanwhile, Mr. Slicky, can he slide his way to the inside in that Team CBR number 2? The Air Slayer tribute gets the rear end hanging out. Oh, Travis Pastrana would be proud of the slide, but Cam Peterson holding tough. Still going to be really cost, I think, on this little battle off of the gravel turn, because now as Barry gives him the slightest of hip checks, still fighting alongside of one another. Where's Drake Mittag going to go through all of this?
There's the contact for Barry, and this time it works in favour of Mittag, but the run from Barry sort of saves him there at the final turn. Now he's looking to the inside of his teammate here. Does he start to get aggressive for this lead?
Slides his way through. You can hear the engine cut out as they then just roll themselves back onto the power. So 4 to go. 3 at the line. Winkler 3 seconds off of this little grouping. And then James Burt, Cody Retzlaff now under pressure from Josh Edmondson, whose recovery drive continues. But that's not what Conor Barry cares about. He'll try the slide job. Peterson with the cutback. Power down and powering back to the race lead.
Is he clear by turn 5? Well, no. Side by side and so close to contact. Peterson judged that perfectly, because if there was contact, surely they would have both been in real trouble, and Mittag may have been too. But they all avoided it, and Peterson has the lead back again.
And these are 3 of the best to do it now. Here in the short course realm, Conor Barry, the 2-time off-road champion, trying to win here in this Racecraft Pro 2 championship. Fresh off his iRacing Short Course National Series championship as well. Cam Peterson back in the world of short course for the first time in quite a while. And Drake Mittag, the relative newcomer to the world of this top level. He's on board with us once again in his TCR 518. 3 laps to go between these 3 drivers.
Yeah, they've all sort of settled in here through turn 1 and 2 for the first time in a couple of laps, but you can't see that lasting very much longer here. Barry is getting a bit restless. He wants to get the lead. Mittag wants to gain what he can out of this as well, but so far they've all somehow managed to end up in the same positions that they have been for quite some time. Barry doesn't, notably, try that again.
And again, remember, fights through the field, just in not just in terms of the championship first, second and third picture, but others as well. Sean Winkler, Taylor Vandenbush, they're fighting for the inverted top 4, let's not forget. I can tell you that Josh Edmondson, his charge back up through the field, well, he's now trying to get up to 6th position. That would be a monster recovery drive after being tangled up in his Nitro Cross Nitro Circus sim racing entry before we even got to the line to see the official start of lap number 1. 2 laps to go though, and as Conor Barry continues to put the pressure on, Cam Peterson's eaten all this pressure up so far. What can he do with the pressure continuing to build?
Well, he's just got to hang on for a couple more laps, really. It's not about doing anything different, I don't think, because what he's done so far has worked, but it's just about doing it again and again for another couple of laps and making sure he doesn't open the door for Barry or Mittag either to walk on through. That was a little bit wide, though, through the final corner. He could have left himself exposed, but Barry goes a bit wide himself, or slides a bit too much, should I say, through turn 2, and can't quite make it work just yet. They're in this status quo, nothing happening really for the moment.
And are we convincing you, Ewan, of the joys of short course slowly but surely? Are we making a convert out of you?
No, I'm really enjoying this, yeah. Look at, oh dear, there you go, just as I say that. Peterson makes a mistake. He won't be taking any advice from me anytime soon about that.
Beating and banging on the run down to turn 5. Drake Mittag, can he make Peterson lose 2 for 1? Yes. One small mistake. Conor Barry takes the lead. Drake Mittag takes second. And with 1.5 laps to go, Peterson led for 8.5 laps. What will happen with the time we've still got remaining?
Well, I think Barry's going to get away now because this battle for second will really ignite. I think Peterson will not want to allow this to just lie and for him to lose a couple of positions with no reply there. But that is all going to mean that Conor Barry races away with the race win and maybe the title as well.
Sean Winkler, Taylor Vandenbush, let's not forget they're fighting as well for that inverted position. That's going to be a fun little thing to keep an eye on. Behind them, Josh Edmondson now officially in 6th and solidly in 6th position as we cycle on to the final lap of this race, and with a very similar scenario playing out to what we had in the Spec Championship, with Conor Barry coming into this round at the Big House as the points leader, knowing that the ideal situation would be locking up the championship in the first of the motos of the night, and he's half a lap away from winning the race and locking up the championship.
Yeah, absolutely. He wouldn't even need to start the second race now, given the point situation he's found himself in. So, a wonderful drive from Barry. Just the perfect mix, really, of staying out of trouble, efficiently passing other trucks, but also being pretty quick as well, as he's shown himself to be once again here at Crandon. You can see the battle for second place really allowing himself to afford a bit of a margin. He can maybe enjoy these final couple of corners. And
in a season where I think there has been plenty of close competition, staying out of trouble has not always been a given, and Conor Barry has kept his nose clean. And as he slides that Air Slayer tribute livery, it's the number 2, the red number board. Championship leader now becomes championship winner here in Racecraft Off-Road, powered by Next Level Racing. And it's Open Championship. Drake Mittag and Cam Peterson will finish off on the podium, while the outgoing champion Josh Edmondson will recover to a quite remarkable 6th place finish amidst all of the chaos. Championship done and dusted, now just bragging rights to sort out in the final race of the season.
Absolutely, and with that performance, by the way, Edmondson just about hangs on to 2nd in the championship as things stand, to Cameron Peterson, who moves up into 3rd, with Keaton Swain having a bit of a disaster in that race, dropping down from 3rd to 4th. So a pretty important and a very valiant effort from Josh Edmondson.
Here's a look at the race results, pending, of course, any race control intervention. Not sure how much there really will be, but Barry 8/10 clear of Mittag at the line, with Peterson, Winkler, and then Vandenbush the rest of the top 5. Winkler grabbing that crucial invert. He'll line up on the very inside when we go racing for the final time this season. Edmondson down in 6th, James Burke in 7th, with Cody Retzlaff, Cody Winicky, and then Greg Johnson, the rest of the top 10. Did see that Crystal King had to make a trip down to pit lane, so she dropped to 15th behind Anthony James, Keaton Swain, Cody Vanderveer, and Mike Budson. But all 15 finish on the lead lap, and looking forward to seeing all 15 go once again in a few moments' time for the final race of the season. Well, Crandon, maybe not just a logger's best friend, but a short course race fan's best friend as well. We've got 10 more laps to go this season. Conor Barry already locking up the championship. We'll be right back here with Dirt 9 on RaceSpotTV. welcome back to Dirt Night on RaceSpot and the final race in the Racecraft Off-Road powered by Next Level Racing 2024 agenda. We'll break out the Pro 2 truck, send 700 horsepower into the control of our 15 drivers, and 10 more laps of racing ready here at the Crandon International Raceway. Our Junior Kenky Party joined alongside by Ewan O'Leary. Josh Lee unfortunately cannot join us for the final round of the season, feeling a little under the weather. We send him our best, but Ewan, it's been a fun end of the season so far, with of course the final race still left to come.
Yeah, a fun education for me, and a fun race, races to watch. Looking forward to this final one as well, where a battle for second in the championship will be really hotting up after Conor Barry effectively sealing it with that one, and doesn't even need to start this second race if he doesn't want to.
Have you done the math?
Oh yeah. He only needed to get past Peterson there, and for him to finish. For Peterson to finish third, and so that's it. He's got more than 50 points on the rest now.
Well, there you go. Makes our life nice and easy up here in the commentary booth. Although it would have been nice maybe in some ways, yes, to have that championship showdown. Let's run you down trackside for the final time this season as 15 trucks ready to go 10 wide on row 1 with Sean Winkler, Cam Peterson, Drake Mittag and Conor Barry inverted from their first 4 finishing positions in the first of the motos of the night. Taylor Vandenbush, Josh Edmondson will be right in the heart of that front row and maybe in the danger zone with James Burke, Cody Retzlaff, Cody Winicky and Greg Johnson. The rest of row number 1. Anthony James inside of row 2 with Keaton Swain, Cody Vanderveer, Mike Budson and Crystal King. The rest of the 15 machines ready to do battle. And as ever, just waiting for the final trucks to get their instructions to head down trackside before they can rev the engines and we can send them loose for the final time in Racecraft Off-Road powered by Next Level Racing. On that very inside, who's going to get the best jump? Cam Peterson's going to try and slide his way to the middle and challenge Sean Winkler. Around the outside though, big send from Cody Winicky, who will take the race lead. Oh, what a move that was. Confidence on his part as well. And through the long left-hander, Edmondson to second as we make our way 15 trucks strong through the opening couple of corners.
Yeah, spectacular move on the outside and great commitment as well not to get spun out by anybody, which was really showing a lot of faith in the rest of the field. In fact, pretty much everybody survived this opening couple of corners, which means the whole field bears down into the hairpins for the first time we've seen all night, and it's not ended very well.
And no, oh, there's the trouble. Anthony James, Mike Budson, Cam Peterson, James Burke. So 4 involved as 11 then depart that scene of the incident through Calamity Corner and across the line to officially start lap number 1 with Winicky holding on as Edmondson, Winkler, Mittag, Retzlaff and Barry, the rest of the top 6 as they stretch their legs onto this back straightaway.
Yeah, it's all very close at the front of the field, all over again with a lot of the contenders very much embedded within this. Josh Edmondson at the moment in the perfect possible position because of Cameron Peterson there dropping so far down. He's now even going to the lead, is Edmondson, although it's only very, very brief. All he needs to do here is finish ahead of the number 48 and he'll be second after this season.
And so, as assumed, Winicky holds on down into turn 5, this time up to racing speed. Only side-by-side moments, I think really. You're looking now at Crystal King, who might get to the inside of Cody Retzlaff, the Pro 2 Spec Championship rivals, now locking horns in the Open Championship.
That is cool to see the two of them battling, not just at the back together, by the way, very much in the middle and up towards the pointy end as Edmondson fires down the inside. That's a proper slide job. And with a little bit of contact assistance, he goes through.
His webcam's apparently so exciting it's turned itself off, so we don't get to see behind the scenes. Josh Edmondson riding in VR at the end of the opening lap. Cody Winicky sits behind him with Sean Winkler, Drake Mittag, Conor Barry, your top 5. And like you say, Crystal King and Cody Retzlaff then directly behind them, right in the heart of all of the action. We're on board with Sean Winkler, who I'm sure will sell you plenty. Let's see what action he can sell us on board as we run our way to tree turn once more.
There he goes, in VR, as you can see, working away at the wheel. Just gives you an idea, doesn't it, riding on board and looking in to what these guys are doing, just how much wheel work is actually required in one of these machines. It is such hard work, and you can see why the races are only 10 laps.
Yeah, but you say that. We need to do more endurance racing in these machines. Now, yes, to Motorsport, they do it. We need more of it, and on RaceSpotTV in particular. So throwing that out there, we are very open to the idea.
How endurance are you talking, just out of interest?
They do like 3-hour races.
Wow.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah, no, that sort of endurance as Cody Winicky to the inside of Edmondson. Just trying to force the number 1 machines slightly offline, but that's not going to unsettle the now outgoing champion, who continues to hold on to the point now, this time at the end of lap 2. Drake Mittag's going to get to the inside of Sean Winkler. There's contact. There's a stack up. Barry's going to avoid getting tangled up. Keaton Swain's departing that little incident with Crystal King directly behind as well. Oh, Calamity Corner claims yet another.
Don't you think as well, we've just seen a real distillation of why Conor Barry is going to be crowned the champion at the end of the season. Another example there of avoiding another crash that could have sent him right to the back. He did it twice in race 1. He's done it once again now in the second race. Just amazing. And it really shows why he will be champion. Here's the presence of mind. Just stay out of trouble. He could see it happening. You could see it happening on the inside there. And he was turning left before a lot of people even realised there was an accident.
And it's the willingness to stay out of the incident rather than try and make time through the incident that sometimes helps you. To the inside of Drake Mittag as they go wheel to wheel, fight for 3rd position now with Edmondson and Winicky maybe trying to break away, but if either of these drivers knows what's smart, they'll maybe refrain from keeping this battle as an extended wheel to wheel encounter. Very quick young drivers respectively. See the drive off the corner from the 18, who's now on the outside running to Calamity Corner.
Oh, very sideways for Mittag there, but he's going to switch back to the inside. I think that almost mistake he's turned into very nearly his benefit, but Barry just shut the door on him there, and he hangs on to 3rd position. I think you're right, they could do with getting into line here and working together, just as Mittag didn't do with Barry in that first race for the correct reasons. Now he needs to do the opposite, also for the correct reasons, because he needs to catch the front 2, but I think that's going to be more difficult this time around.
Especially, I think, with that blue groove really starting to settle in as the rubber actually gets set down into the surface itself. As Keaton Swain, having shed the front end of the Simcoaches factory SimSport number 21. Crystal King Shenandoah Shine machine has been patched up a few times today and back out for the 4th race of the day. Sits in front of Cody Retzlaff, who has dropped back into the battles with the likes of Taylor Vandenbush, and a little bit worse for wear now as the Team Rogue 525.
Yeah, it's in the midfield where the battling is now, really. Look at that leap on the inside there from Cody Retzlaff, who has dropped a couple of positions in these last couple of moments. Wonder how much the lack of a front end is affecting that. We'll see, but 10th place for now, and a real queue behind him.
You know what's funny? I think the biggest impact that front end damage has is probably aerodynamic when the truck's in the air, and it's impacting exactly how, things are moving around and how you then land. So maybe the only thing that it really impacts when you're sliding around on these big 4 wheels that you have, and that suspension's working hard just to pitch the weight of the truck around. Don't think it's too much of an impact. So Barry 19.007 last lap. That was not the fastest lap of the race because Keaton Swain went a little bit quicker, but it was a very quick lap. We're talking a 10th quicker though than Josh Edmondson, and we'll see the halfway mark of the race this time by.
Yep, and I think we'll see more of the same from these two until maybe 3/4 of the way through the race, if I could say that quickly.
Say it 5 times fast.
Yeah. No. But yeah, I think it will be about 3/4 of the way through, and then we'll start to see something from these two. By the way, this might be the only motorsport in the world that has to think about these trucks and the aerodynamics of the trucks going through the air. Can't think of many others that would have to think about that as an actual thing.
That's what Formula One needs to be more exciting. Send the cars into the air. How do the aerodynamics work when all 4 wheels are off the car? Adrian Newey, eat your heart out.
Exactly, yeah. Well, normally when that happens, it's not good.
No, as Mark Webber found out for one.
Well, yeah, many people have in the past, yeah.
Well,
so,
poor guy, Mark Webber's found out a couple of times, hasn't he?
I remember one of them.
Well, I'm not just thinking F1 here, I'm thinking Le Mans as well, poor guy.
Sorry. Oh, crikey, yeah, you're right, yeah, sorry.
If anyone's going to win an award for services for flipping race cars, Mark Webber is up there, as Cody Retzlaff loses a spot to Greg Johnson in the very colourful Team Watson Racing 150. That's headed down to turn 4 in the fight for 9th position. outside of that, Keaton Swain on the charge. He's just past Drake Mittag, so Connor Barry starting to try and close on your race leaders. Got to say, Cody Winicki's right there still.
He absolutely is, but Connor Barry is catching them both, so that is very much incentivising these two not to fight with each other. The reason why I was sort of pulled a confused face there is because Drake Mittag, from sticking with Connor Barry in the first race admirably, is not able to do that even close in this second race.
Wonder if he's just been bullied a little bit by Keaton as well in terms of the pass costing them some time. You can see Edmondson and Winicki, bottom corner of your screen, running to the line as in the big picture, it's Cody Retzlaff still in a fight. Taylor Vandenbush in the just a trim lawn service entry, trying to look both forward and back because guess who? Cam Peterson, he's there and in the mix and trying to get back up into the top 10.
Absolutely. Oh, that's a look to the inside that could go wrong. No, it's okay. Everyone's made it through into turn 3, and then the tightest corner on the circuit, turn 4. This is the run that they're all searching for here if they can. And maybe a look down the inside. We've seen plenty of almost suicidal looks down the inside throughout tonight so far, and that's a bit of contact instead to dive into the hairpin.
1 and 2 bits of contact, and maybe a third here on the exit in the drag race. It's a good place to be if you're Cam Peterson, albeit now with Vandenbush slamming the door shut down to turn 5. Very fast downhill sweeper. 3 laps to go up front though for your leaders at the line, as Connor Barry struggling to try and close, did an 18.756 last time by, on board with the now already crowned champion as he tries to close off the season with yet another podium and maybe yet another victory.
It's not out of the question at all. It really isn't, but he's got a real conundrum coming up here, and I'm sure he'll have the answer as to how to solve it, but it's going to be, do I attack second place here in the risk that the number 1 truck will get away from us, or do I just wait for the front 2 to do their thing on their own? I'm not sure what you do here as Cody Winicki here. There's a real risk that if you go for a move here on Josh Edmondson and it doesn't work, you could find yourself with Connor Barry right up your tailpipes very, very quickly indeed.
And I think that's kind of what Cody Retzlaff's dealing with right now, for example, because Cam Peterson's made his move. Here comes Taylor Vandenbush to now try and take advantage and send the 525 down to 12. He'll go to the outside. Very late decision there as well. And as the battle for the lead starts to pick up, here comes Cody Winicki, who for a moment thought he might get a look at a lunge alongside.
Edmondson's line was way too good into turn 6 there, and Winicki didn't stand a chance, to be honest, on the way through the inside that time round. Connor Barry not that much closer, and there'll only be 2 laps to go at the line here, so we're getting to the stage now where he's probably going to catch on the final lap, needing 2 overtakes in 1 lap.
Which, you know, never put it past someone like Connor to be able to make something like that happen, but you've really got to work on your moves here. There's the shove. The look from Winicki, who would actually have won the race if that was the final lap, but it's not. Instead, he's on the outside as they sequence back out through turns 1 and 2. Edmondson will hold on into the braking zone of 3, and guess what? Guess who's knocking? There's Connor Barry.
Yeah, he's a little bit closer, but not as much as I would have thought after a battle like that, but there was a little bit of contact again there off of turn 3. Winicki not getting a great run off the corner, to be honest, and now Connor Barry is right there, and he can very much have a say in the rest of this race, but can he work his way through, especially down to turn 6, which was really a key point in the circuit at the end of the second race earlier on.
Drake Mittag struggling. He's lost another couple of positions. He's down to 7th now. Don't count out Keaton Swain for maybe joining this little battle as well. There is a bit of fighting. Could be brought into the mix pretty quickly. This is what happened to Drake Mittag. Oh, contact with Crystal King and over-rotates the number 18 around.
I'm sure you know there was contact, but it didn't look to me as if they were too close together, actually. But I guess they are big, aren't they? These trucks. So maybe there was. But final lap time now for these 3.
White flag in hand, and it's the final lap of the season. I've got to say, if you're Cody Winicki, this is a nervous place to be. You're in the sandwich, of course. You've got the bread representing Nitro Circus Sim Racing around you. You're that filling, maybe a tasty filling if you're Connor Barry. What's going to happen out of turn 3 for the very final time?
Nice run. Oh, he didn't quite get alongside, but probably didn't want to. because that would have really stifled his run on this sort of back straight-ish down here. Does he move to the inside, Barry? Is he allowed to? No. Winnicki goes to the very, very inside. Not as an attack to Edmondson, I don't think, but a defence to Barry.
And I thought for a moment maybe there was a chance for Winnicki to close the gap to Edmondson. Don't think it was a realistic chance. So down through turn 5, one final time, just the slide through the long left-hander and 2 more hairpins. Is Barry going to make his move before there? In the air alongside, and Connor Barry forces Cody Winnicki to concede position, and the champ takes second in the closing stages.
Yeah, textbook turn 6 for Connor Barry, showing again, underlining again just why he's going to be champion. It's another great finish for him with second position, but a great pass to sign off the season.
They'll finish 1 and 2. Josh Edmondson, the outgoing champion, hands the baton over to his teammate and to new champion of Racecraft Off-Road, powered by Next Level Racing. What a way to close the season out, with Winnicki pushing all the way to the very end. But it is Connor Barry, a first and a second, and your champion for 2024.
Yeah, fantastic drive again from Connor Barry. Once again, just displaying why he is the champion of this series. But how fitting for 1 and 2 to finish 1 and 2 in the final race of the season. Josh Edmondson's drive there has done him more than enough to seal second in the championship. And actually, it's not going to look very close at all when the results actually come through.
And wow, you got to say as well, take those Nitro Circus sim racing pair aside, and Cody Winnicki, the one that takes plenty of plaudits for what was a very, very valiant effort and a good fight all the way to the very end to be within 1 second of both of those Nitro Circus sim racing teammates. And so Edmondson and Barry 1 and 2 on the board, Winnicki down in third. What a way to close out the season for him. Then Factory Sim Sport will be delighted to see not just Keaton Swain, but on debut Crystal King slide her way up into the top 5 after gaining 10 positions in the second moto. Cody Vanderveer and then Sean Winkler, pair of Racecraft Academy entries, finish in front of Drake Mittag in the closing stage scramble, who drops down to 8th. Cam Peterson, Cody Retzlaff, your top 10, with Taylor Vandenbush, Mike Budson and Greg Johnson. Those that finished on the lead lap. Anthony James and James Burke, 2 drivers involved in some of the opening lap shenanigans, and unfortunately DNFs respectively for them at the end of the season. Well, looking forward to having a chat once again with our drivers. Still waiting to see where Connor Barry and maybe Cody Winnicki are, but let's see if we can catch up with the winner of Moto 2 on the night. Josh Edmondson standing by in his Nitro Circus sim racing machine. And Josh, 1 and 2, I know you would have wanted to be able to fight a little bit more for the championship in this final round, but it must be great to see Nitro Circus sim racing close off the season with you both on top and Connor Barry wrapping up the championship.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's always an accomplishment to go anywhere up to the front in this series. It's really competitive. I knew being close with Keaton today, it was going to be really tough. And we both struggled in the first moto. So luckily I was able to get off to a good start in the second moto here and get out front and get that win. That was huge to stay ahead of Keaton in the points. And yeah, overall stoked. A little bummed to give up the number 1 plate, but Connor and I have been talking some smack about this for a while. He finally beat me in it, so he deserved it. Congrats to him. It's pretty cool to see.
And I know you're an advocate for the Pro 2, so, you know, given this is my first season, I've gotten to commentate on it as a whole. Again, you've got 30 seconds, 60 seconds, however much time you want to expose the beliefs, the benefits of why Pro 2 is better than Pro 4.
Oh, I just think the racing's a lot more fun. It's more on the driver. You know, the Pro 4s I think are a little easier, so there's a little more skill gap separation in the Pro 2, and I just love the racing in them with how sideways you back it in. And yeah, just the group of people that race the Pro 2s, like Cody Winnicki up here, always have a blast racing him. That was a lot of fun. And yeah, just a good group of people and a lot of fun on the track. And
well, yeah, Cody's fight today, we thought he was really putting the pressure on you, and Connor did a good job to just push him slightly aside and take that 1-2 in the closing race of the season. And Josh, it's been a fun season and hoping to look forward to more Racecraft Off-Road in the future, but for now, congrats on a great season. Congrats on second in the championship.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you guys again for doing the broadcast. Looking forward to watch this one back. And shout out all the sponsors, Nitro Circus Sim Racing, Next Level Racing, Pimax VR, Apex Gaming PCs, and everybody at Racecraft.
And so from Josh Edmondson, in the Nitro Circus number 1. It's now over to the Nitro Circus number 2, but maybe not for much longer as he takes over the mantle of the champion of Racecraft Off-Road powered by Next Level Racing. Connor Barry joins us now. Connor, congratulations. How are you feeling with a first and second? A great way to wrap up a championship.
Oh yeah, I am pumped on that one. It was definitely a very good season. We were definitely the guy to beat. So I'm glad that we were able to win again, and we took home the championship, which is always good. It's always been my goal to win this. A year ago, we were in first going into the finale, but I was not able to be there. So it definitely was good to come back and win it again. And it sucks that this isn't my second one, but I'm glad that we were able to win.
And talk to me about what the plan is then for the rest of the year. Of course, you did win your second iRacing Short Course National Series Championship earlier this summer. What else are you going to be up to for the rest of 2024? Is there more short course in the plans, or what else in the world of iRacing are we going to see you in?
That I'm not too sure in. The short course stuff is definitely going to be unstopped. I think just because of the World Championship is gone. I think we might go out and try the sprint car World Championship. So you might see me in that. So I would say for now, it's just going to go have fun and go do some real life short course.
Well, we'll always enjoy you out in the real world. Looking forward to seeing you more in the sim world, maybe as an outlaw. Connor Barry, your 2024 Racecraft Off-Road powered by Next Level Racing Open champion. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So great to catch up there with Connor Barry in his number 2 to become number 1. That's Team CBR Nitro Circus Sim Racing entry. Let's have a chat with Keaton Swain as well to wrap up what's been a fun season, I think, in many ways, Keaton, and a fun way to close things out by having to fight your way back through the field and getting up to 4th by the end of Moto 2.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of a rough day for me. Started off good with qualifying, but the invert pushed me back to 4th, and I just could not get a start in either of the motos there. Luckily, in the second one, I somehow was able to go from dead last to 4th. So, it's still a good recovery, but overall, not a terrible season. Felt like we had a ton of speed, though. It seemed like we were either on the podium or getting wrecked out, but can't complain with a third in this stacked field, that's for sure.
And tell us about what the plan is for the rest of the year for you competition-wise. Of course, no World Championship this year, which kind of shakes things up. So Connor was saying he might go and do some sprint cars and stuff. Are you maybe thinking about doing some things beyond just the short course stuff for the rest of this year?
Definitely, because I'm pretty burnt out on the short course stuff. Obviously, everyone knows we only have 4 tracks, so after so many years, it gets quite tiring. So I like the 87s here for the winter NIS. Probably dabble in that again. I've been doing it the last couple of years, but now that some time's opened up, we'll see if we can maybe put a full season together for the winter NIS for the 87s.
Well, enjoy it, Keaton. Looking forward to seeing you back in a short course truck, bit more refreshed and ready to go racing for another set of championships whenever that will be. Congratulations on yet another good campaign though here in Racecraft Off-Road powered by Next Level Racing.
Yeah, thank you.
It's always great to catch up with the drivers there, and so that is Keaton Swain caught up with for us here as well. But Ewan, that officially means our coverage for this season comes to a close, and what a season it has been. It's a short fire campaign. We had just a 1 week off between rounds 4 and 5. And it sounds like a couple of the drivers ready to take a step outside of these short course trucks to do something else for just a little bit.
Maybe, but we'll see what the future holds. I was going to say I really enjoyed my late appearance here at Crandon in the final round of the season. It's been set up very nicely, but 2 obvious champions have come to the fore. 2 deserved champions as well, who were able to seal their titles with still one of the races to go. And that didn't detract from the racing that we got, and it was absolutely fantastic.
Hey, and Josh Edmondson, he claims that the Pro 2 racing is better. Definitely is a lot more for the driver, right, and control underneath them. And it's been a good season, a fun season. Can't wait to do it all again. And hopefully we'll have more news about that on social media to come soon. So make sure you connect with our great friends over at Racecraft. We've had coverage of both Rallycross and now of Pro 2 trucks. Who knows what is left to come this year. Hoping for another race to the summit sooner rather than later. For our team behind the scenes that's made all of this possible, for Josh Lee, Joey Tebben, Ewan O'Leary, joining myself, Arjuna Kankipati. It's been a blast to bring you more Dirt Night on RaceSpotTV action. Can't wait to do it once again, but signing off from the big house with Connor Barry and Cody Retzlaff, your Racecraft Off-Road powered by Next Level Racing champions for 2024.